Moscow Fashion Week spotlights emerging designers and global collaboration. Welcome back. Today, we're diving into one of the most intriguing and evolving events in the global fashion calendar, Moscow Fashion Week. Now, when you think of major fashion capitals, cities like Paris, Milan, New York City, and London probably come to mind first. But something interesting has been happening. Moscow has been carving out its own space, not just as a fashion hub, but as a platform for emerging designers and international collaboration. And that's exactly what we're exploring today. How Moscow Fashion Week is evolving, why emerging designers are at the center of it, and how global collaboration is shaping its identity. Let's get into it to understand the significance of Moscow Fashion Week. We need to look at the city itself. Moscow is a place where tradition meets modern ambition. For years, it has been known for rich cultural heritage, distinctive aesthetics, bold, often dramatic fashion choices. But historically, it hasn't always been considered part of the big four fashion capitals. That's changing. Events like Moscow Fashion Week are helping reposition the city as a creative hub, a launchpad for new talent, and a meeting point for international fashion voices. And that shift is important, because fashion is no longer controlled by just a handful of cities. It's becoming global. One of the defining features of Moscow Fashion Week is its focus on emerging designers. Unlike some traditional fashion weeks that prioritize legacy brands, Moscow is creating space for first-time designers, independent labels, experimental voices. And that's a big deal, because breaking into fashion is notoriously difficult. New designers often struggle with funding, visibility, industry connections. Moscow Fashion Week helps bridge that gap. It provides runway exposure, media attention, networking opportunities, and most importantly, validation. For many designers, showing here is more than a debut. It's a statement. I belong in this industry. What makes Moscow Fashion Week especially compelling is the diversity of design. You'll see collections that range from avant-garde concepts, streetwear influences, traditional Eastern European motifs, futuristic silhouettes. There's less pressure to conform, and that freedom allows designers to take risks. Some collections challenge gender norms, cultural expectations, conventional beauty standards. And that's where innovation happens. Because when designers aren't boxed in, they experiment. Now let's talk about the global aspect. Moscow Fashion Week isn't just about local talent. It's increasingly becoming a space for international collaboration. Designers, buyers, and media from different countries come together, creating cross-cultural exchanges, shared creative ideas, new business opportunities. This kind of collaboration matters more than ever, because fashion today is interconnected. Trends don't stay in one place. They travel. And events like this accelerate that process. A designer from one region can showcase to a global audience, collaborate with international brands, expand beyond their home market. That's powerful. Let's not forget the role of digital media. Fashion Week is no longer just about who sits in the front row. Now, it's about who's watching online, who's sharing content, who's going viral. Moscow Fashion Week has embraced this shift. Through live stream shows, social media coverage, influencer participation, it's reaching audiences far beyond Russia. And that global visibility is crucial for emerging designers. Because today, one viral moment can launch a career, attract investors, build a brand overnight. Of course, it's not without challenges. Moscow Fashion Week still faces competition from established fashion capitals, international perception barriers, the need to continuously attract global attention. There's also the question of sustainability. Can it maintain momentum? Can it consistently deliver innovation? These are questions every growing fashion platform faces. But they also create pressure, and pressure often drives improvement. Looking ahead, the future seems promising. If current trends continue, Moscow Fashion Week could become a major hub for emerging talent, a bridge between Eastern and Western fashion markets. a key player in shaping global trends. Its strength lies in openness to new voices, willingness to experiment, commitment to collaboration. And those are exactly the qualities the fashion industry needs right now. So what have we learned? Moscow Fashion Week is more than just a series of runway shows. It's a platform for new designers, a space for creative freedom, and a growing force in global fashion. In a world where the industry is constantly evolving, events like this remind us that innovation doesn't just come from tradition. It comes from opportunity, from fresh voices, from collaboration across borders. And as Moscow continues to build its place in the fashion world, one thing is clear. The future of fashion isn't just being designed in the usual places. It's being shaped everywhere, including right here in a world where fashion has long been dominated by a handful of cities: Paris, Milan, New York City, and London. A new narrative is quietly unfolding. Pause. In the heart of Moscow, a different kind of fashion story is being told. One not built solely on legacy, but on emergence, on experimentation, and on connection. Welcome to Moscow Fashion Week, where the future of fashion is not just imagined. It's introduced. For decades, the global fashion industry followed a predictable map. Designers aspired to show in the established capitals. Recognition flowed through traditional channels. And success often depended on access, not just talent. But that model is evolving. Fashion is becoming more decentralized. And cities like Moscow are stepping forward, not to replace the old system, but to expand it. Moscow Fashion Week represents that shift. It offers something different: accessibility for new designers, a willingness to experiment, and a platform less constrained by tradition. This isn't about competing with the Big Four. It's about creating a parallel space, where new voices don't have to wait their turn. Let's slow down and focus on the designers themselves, because they are the heart of this story. At Moscow Fashion Week, many of the featured creatives are early in their careers, building independent labels, defining their identities in real time. For them, this isn't just exposure, it's opportunity. Imagine the pressure: months of preparation, limited resources, and one chance to present your vision to the world. Pause. But with that pressure comes freedom. Unlike legacy houses bound by expectations, these designers can take creative risks, blend cultural influences, challenge norms. And that's exactly what we see on the runway. Collections that feel raw, personal, unfiltered, not always perfect, but often unforgettable. One of the most compelling aspects of Moscow Fashion Week is its cultural layering. Designers draw inspiration from Slavic heritage, Soviet-era aesthetics, modern street culture, global fashion movements. And the result? A fusion of past and present. You might see traditional embroidery reimagined in modern silhouettes, military-inspired structures softened with fluid fabrics, dark, dramatic palettes contrasted with bold, futuristic elements. This blending creates something unique. Not purely Eastern, not purely Western, but something in between. And that in-between space is where innovation thrives. Now, let's talk about collaboration, because this is where